think it's kind of interesting how humans fear things that are inevitable in a way. I feel like all of us at one point are scared or afraid of death, even though we know it's going to happen. It's just interesting to think. How a lot of people are, throughout their life, wanting to leave a legacy or something that they can be remembered by, but eventually, for most people, you're eventually going to run out of people who will remember you at some point. It might take longer for some people or shorter, but eventually no one will remember you, sort of thing. And it's interesting because I feel like that is inevitable, that eventually people won't remember you. Right? Like there's probably some crazy ass Chinese emperor or like Asian emperor who did some crazy ass shit and nobody like knows. Maybe a few historians. Even then maybe they don't even know or remember him still. You really think you're gonna do something like more impactful than Chinese emperor? I don't know. But it's weird, like I feel like life, even then, like why is that the ultimate goal, sort of thing, right? To be remembered after you die, or like, why is that such a common goal? That's probably something that eventually, it might take a while, but eventually you probably will not be remembered for, right? But it's fearful that you will leave a life where your legacy eventually will die, and that's something people are afraid of, I think. Me included, right? But I mean, if time continues on, eventually, we're not going to be remembered at some point. But it's interesting that we're scared of those things, when in my opinion, it's inevitable, sort of thing. I've been rambling on about this too long. But a much simpler topic is like death, sort of thing. Everyone is going to die, but somehow we still like fret about it. Most people are just sitting there fretting about it, thinking, wow, like preparing for it or trying to delay it as much as possible. Letting it sit like a shadow over their lives almost. I guess my question is, does that make your life less enjoyable? If you're thinking the whole time about something you fear. To dumb it down even more, like think about a test, right? We don't have to go as morbid as the idea of death. Like you might fear a test or be afraid or nervous for a test that you have that's upcoming, but it's inevitable. You registered for the class, you're in this class, you have to take this test, sort of thing, for your education, but you still fear it. It's just an interesting idea. And that fear in the test example is not necessarily a bad thing, right? Because maybe that fear of that test will make you study harder and then get a better grade because you are so afraid of the test. Maybe that idea can be applied to the idea of death. Maybe I was initially thinking that, you know, that fear of death will lead you to have a more boring life because you're living your whole life afraid of death. But maybe it's the other way around. Maybe their life and the things that you do, thinking about death and pushing you, will push you to do more things. Like how when a test is coming up, you might cram and study for it. When death is closer, I feel like a lot of old people try and do stuff on their bucket list more. So maybe that's a better way to see it. The idea that fear is a big motivator. I think it's interesting too how hard it is to break away from negative habits, right? Like how the human brain works. Like the simplest example and most modern example I think is phones. Like most people know that phones are probably not great for you, right? Sitting scrolling Instagram Reels or TikTok for an hour before bed is like not going to help you. at least with me, I have tried to stop. Like, I'll tell myself, hey, like, I don't know, I know this is a bad thing. This is gonna suck tomorrow morning when I'm like, man, I wish I had an extra hour of sleep and didn't fucking scroll Instagram Reels, but here I am. Why is this so hard for humans to change that? Like, I know the dopamine or whatever people say, right? Sure, you get dopamine from that, but why are human brains not able to realize the negatives from the dopamine that they receive? But I guess these companies and stuff know us better than ourselves and have crafted this shit down to a science, to a point where it's feels unbreakable. Oh, maybe I'm not, maybe I just have the wrong mindset, but I think a lot of other people struggle with it as well. I mean, I'm saying that as here I am playing a fucking video game at 1 in the morning, rambling like a fucking madman. But I think rambling is probably, like, I think playing this game and thinking out thoughts is probably more productive than just scrolling Instagram Reels and seeing a bunch of random ass bullshit. Right, at least here I'm like thinking out thoughts, trying to create a thought process. What the fuck? Trying to delve deeper into thoughts and trying to understand myself better, right? That's gotta be more valuable than seeing some fucking dog telling me to wash his belly. But how is that, like that's why I guess the bigger point is, how is that dopamine the same? How is me seeing these random dumbass videos the same as, like, me going to the gym? Like, it's kind of crazy to think that those both release the same chemical or thing in your brain, right? And how easy it is to... how much these companies have crafted it, sort of thing, to... make these videos, like, spam that thing, the dopamine, spam that chemical. Man, shit on. It's weird, I've been wanting to do this for a while. And I feel like whenever this goes for many other things, but specifically this, whenever I think about doing something, it seems so easy to me. I have so many flowing ideas, beautifully crafted ideas. I have so many things like I want to build upon, talk upon, and all the ideas come so fluently. The fuck? But once I'm actually here doing the thing, it's so fucking difficult. Like, I'm struggling with topics here. Like, I had those 2 topics that I thought about before. I thought, hey, these might be, like, decent topics. I remember those, but I can't remember the 5 other things I thought about. But maybe it's just something like all other things will become easier with the more I do it. Maybe it's that kind of thing. But it's not even this. It's like hobbies that I have, coding that I have, thinking about playing video games even. Like, the video games, when I'm watching them, someone else play them, it seems so fucking simple. And then whenever I go to play, it's like, it just becomes so advanced. I guess I get overwhelmed with things. I think it would be interesting to figure out how to, what are the root causes, more specific causes, I guess, of what is overwhelming me and making it hard to process. It's probably the way to solve that problem. But again, I don't think there's no solution to that for multiple problems, right? Each solution is different in that specific scenario. So I think the difference is I just have to do those things, right? So that's the ultimate way. If it's that important, I'll find time to do these things. And like I said earlier, like, the best way to probably figure that out, that solution to that scenario, is just be putting myself in that scenario more, I guess. Just something I need to do. And I guess I'm starting now, so that's a good thing. That guy killed me behind a wall. So I guess the more that I go, I mean, maybe I'll overlap topics, but the more I go and the more I talk, it should be easier to just sort of farm ideas, have ideas pop into my head, and be able to elaborate easier. I feel like that's another thing, like elaborating on ideas is another scenario. Like I feel like even in regular conversation, not even whatever the fuck this is, I'm like very bad at, I'll think of something I want to say and the sentence is very clear, I have it all thought out, and somehow I still like stutter or mess up some words. So I don't really understand. I don't think it's like a brain thing or anything. I don't really know. It's not like that's a bad thing, but I'd rather be, I guess, perceived as someone who's able to connect thoughts better in speech, not have those problems in speech. But it's not really perceived that way, right? Ultimately, I don't really care if I stutter. The person I think I'm talking to doesn't really care. The thing I care about more is the fact that my ideas might be hindered or staggered by that error in speaking. Right, the more errors that happen, it could, like, for whatever reason, it hurts my confidence and makes me feel like I'm going the wrong direction in that idea. The fuck is this map? But I guess that's another thing too, like, obviously talking more should help with that. But I wonder, back to the phones thing, like, if watching videos, if constantly having stimulation is a problem with that. Maybe my brain is so unfocused on the conversation that that's why it stutters. Maybe that could be why. But I don't really think so, because most of the time, I guess I could be thinking about other aspects in the conversation and that trips me up. I guess to put it into other words, it's the fact that when I watch a video or a TikTok, whatever you want to call it, right? When I have that sort of dumbass stimulation, I think that's different stimulation from a conversation, right? So I'm trying to think which one is more stimulating. Because ultimately, in terms of dopamine, probably the conversation is more stimulating, right? I probably get more out of the I definitely get more out of the conversation than I do from watching some random ass video. But I guess the word I'm looking for is mental energy. Which one takes more mental energy? I think that would definitely be a conversation. So maybe my brain is used to just watching videos and not having not having to work hard, and when I'm in a conversation, it's it's uncomfortable with having to have that much focus on something, or that much stimulation, that much workload on something. And that's definitely fixed by just more conversation, but I don't know. I think this theory also kind of tracks more, because I'm not like, I mean, I talk to people, don't get me wrong, but the average day, I probably don't speak to people that much, realistically. A decent amount, but I don't really consider typing in a conversation as that. Or okay, I'll talk to people, right? But the conversations that I have are not ones where it's enough mental workload that that it will cause me to stutter over it, right? It's like everyday small talk, I guess. Like, oh, hey, how are you? How's your day? What do you do this weekend? Like, and I think I could just autopilot that. I think I read a study about that or something where your brain just like kind of autopilots that. So I guess what I need to do is have more conversations away from small talk. I mean, that's a whole nother thing, bro. Small talk, I absolutely hate small talk, but I feel like if I'm trying not to have small talk, I'll just spam people with questions. And I feel like that can be annoying for the person sometimes, right? Because it is interesting to answer questions and feel like someone's genuinely interested in you, right? Like, that's probably one of the top 10 feelings in the world, but sometimes maybe it feels like too much. So I need a different way to get these real conversations, or more stimulating workload conversations, without just spamming people questions. Maybe I just need to ask different questions, right? Because I mean, most conversations, even the brainless ones, stem from questions. Okay, there I like kind of stuttered stem because I was thinking stem and start. So that's another case, I guess, where it happens. That's back to that top 10 feelings in the world or whatever. It's just like being of somebody having genuine interests in your life and talking to you. I think one of the worst things ever is feeling like you are not seen. Like, I think that is or like not present sort of thing. Like that feeling of if you like just disappeared the next day, like no one would even notice that you weren't there. Like I don't know. I work as a lifeguard right now, and I see like a lot of people obviously come to the pool. There's some regulars, and I think something I try and do is just try and say hi to the regulars and make them feel seen as much as I can. I think that's genuinely like one of the worst things ever. Like, imagine going a whole day, even like going out and like going to like a exercise gym place, and no one like even says anything to you. Imagine how shitty that feels. And I guess I've had days like that, and sometimes like you need a day like that where it's just away from people. But imagine like every day something like happening like that. I feel like that would be so shitty. And it's so easy, I guess, is the thing. Like, I'll see a lot of content on this even when I am scrolling Instagram Reels, even though I probably shouldn't be, like, sort of thing. But people just, like, saying, all it takes is just say hi to, like, to someone on the sidewalk. Or just, like a small compliment about what they're wearing or something, so it's not, like, weird, just something small. I feel like that is so easy, and it, like, for the amount of effort put in, the things gained from it is like so insane. Like the return on investment, whatever, is insane. But I guess that's one of the worst feelings, and I feel like that happens more and more and more as like people are more invested in their phones, sort of thing. Because, bro, type into your friends on Discord, going on Twitter, and like typing to people, swiping on Instagram stories, watching friends post. That is not the same as fucking talking to people, bro. Like, nothing is like, it's actually just not even close. Which I think everyone will agree with, sort of thing. And it's kind of known, like it's not a giant discovery sort of thing, but I think the more and more it happens, like, kids are getting introduced to technology at a younger age, sort of thing. People are more on their phones more than ever, sort of thing, because you can access so many things. Even talking to like ChatGPT. I was in New York recently, and I saw this ad on the subway, which was crossed out at the time, or crossed out and vandalized, I guess is the word. But it was like these vague statements of like, I'll never leave dishes in the dishwasher, or like, I'll never dip out on plans. And I was like, okay, why is this? One of the vandalizations, whatever, one of the markings on the ad said like, fuck AI or something. And that's when I realized it was like an AI just for being your friend. Like, how sad is that? Well, I guess the question is it better to not be seen, not have anyone, and be a useless ass chud? Okay, that's rude. I feel... Okay, to make this point, I need to say another point. I feel like some people in those positions are not entirely at fault. I think people make it harder than it is. Like, they make it harder than it seems. I'm going too fast. I'm thinking of 2 different points here. This is what I mean. I think people make it seem harder than it is to make friends. And a lot of people will say like, oh, I can't make friends. Because ultimately, I think a lot of people do want friends, right? That's never going to change. That's like a basic human want. But I think you can't completely place the blame on people who are feeling unseen and like not having a lot of friends sort of thing, right? It's hard to learn the skill of talking to people, right? And some people could get anxiety from that, whatever, but I think it's probably worse to talk to an AI that is coded just to be your friend than it is to be lonely. I think I would rather be lonely, because if you're friends with an AI and are typing that every day instead of getting real social interaction, like that's not social interaction. You're never going to be challenged on anything. You're never going to have a friend argue with you, right? Because the AI is not going to do that. If somebody sees, like, if somebody's super lonely and then the AI fucking argues with them, they're gonna be like, damn, bro, I can't do shit. Like, this AI that is programmed specifically to be my friend is fucking cooking me right now, right? So the AI is never gonna do that, but that just means you're never gonna grow as a person. Like, you will always be the same person and just, like, have this feedback loop of just, I don't know, whatever you are now, the AI is never gonna fault you for and always gonna be your friend. I think at some point in that loneliness, right, eventually somebody will get so lonely that they'll be pushed to social interactions at some point. Like, somebody would get so desperate that they'll just, like, start making friends somehow, right? It might be an accident, it might be completely random, like, but somehow, some way, they'll join a club, or they'll join a book group, or they'll go out to a coffee shop and start talking to people, or they'll go to the gym and like talk to people. And I think if somebody's friends with AI, that's never gonna happen. They're just gonna be comfortable with the AI and sit there the whole time, which I think is fucking awful, because it's not. It's like back to the dopamine or whatever you're getting out of the activity, right? Talking with an AI, you are not getting anything out of. Like, it is probably worse than scrolling reels, theoretically. Because scrolling reels, wow, I fucking sound like a 10-year-old. Scrolling reels, at least you might see something you disagree with, right? Or that makes you think. But being, like I said, being friends with an AI, you're never gonna. It's just always going to be friends with you, always agree with you, right? There's no mental stimulation. It's literally, eventually, it will become those conversations where everyone autopilots. Just, how was your weekend, sort of thing. How was X? How was Y? Oh, that's great. Blah, 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 right? It'll just become small talk, I think. There's no real value to the AI. And even if it is real value, it's still just spewing out words that it has seen online or through other social interactions that it probably won't, like, agree with, or that aren't originally from it, right? Even if, I think it's like the ship of Theseus almost, right? Think of the ship of Theseus, which for people that don't know, it's if you take a ship and there's a board missing, right? And you replace the board, and then another board falls off, and every single board of the ship falls off, and you replace it with something else, because it's still the same ship. So someone has a thought, or an opinion, okay? Person A has an opinion, and they think X. And then the AI large language model takes X and says, okay, I'm going to give that to this person. I don't think that's the same conversation, because it's not going to it's not the conversation you have with the AI versus that person, even if they bring up the same thing, right? It's the exact same pattern of I say Y and then you respond with X. I don't think it's the same, because the AI, if you continue that conversation, right, and go further, it could get another answer from a completely different person, right? It could be a completely different thought process. But if you're talking with a person, you might go Y, you might say Y and X, they respond with X, and then like X1, and then you say Y2, and then they'll respond with X2, right? It'll be something where it aligns more with their values, where I don't think the AI can do that, right? Maybe it has a specific personality, but I think there's something inherently human about the ideas of multiple thoughts, sort of thing, right? And something inherently human about real conversation that I don't think AI will be able to replicate. Even if the context is the same, right? And that's it goes even like the most basic point of that is that it's all over text. You don't see this person's tone, even if it's a voice thing, right? You don't see their tone. You don't see their face. You don't see their body language, sort of thing. And ultimately, you know the AI is coded to be your friend, right? So you are going to have probably different conversations with the AI because you know there's no social repercussions. But I mean, I feel like that is literally the idea of Ship of Theseus, right? If, like, in a different sort of thing. What if AI eventually becomes a fucking robot? It is exactly like a human. It has human thoughts of a person that is a completed personality, right? It's always following that same track. It shows tone, it has a unique voice sort of thing. Is that a person? Which raises the question of what makes something a person? Is it like what does having a soul mean? This AI can have the same body as us, the same speech patterns, the same facial expressions. But it will never be a human. In my opinion, I don't think it will ever be a human. But what is the difference? I don't really know. I don't really know what it is missing. Right? It's just something says to me, like, in my brain. This is honestly really kind of bad that I can't think of this. Something in my brain says, okay, this AI, even if it has a body, even if it has a tone, a voice, unique face, facial expressions, even if it has its own thought process unique to itself, I don't think it's a human. It's like fucking Overwatch, bro. Like with well, I don't know enough about Overwatch lore and Omnics and shit, but I don't know, that's kind of interesting to think about. What is the difference between an AI that is made completely in the human image and has all the features of a human? What is the difference between that and a human? I guess you could, what I'm thinking now is that a human only has one existence, one life, right? If you die, it's game over. You can't come back. But if an AI dies, maybe there's somewhere in the cloud where it's stored, right? That perfect thing, you could just take it and put it in another fucking robot. I think that's what makes a human. I think that is the main difference in the answer to the Ship of Theseus, why it is not the same ship. If you take an AI robot and create everything very human-like, it is still not a human. I don't know if I've explained that properly, but I'm gonna end it because I've been ranting for a while.